Good morning, everyone. Happy Supercharge Manifesting Monday. It is the start of another week, and of course, my favorite time of the week with you guys. I am really excited because today I have a friend, a mentor, a girl crush person,
Soul sister.
soul sister, like all the things, all wrapped in one goodness today. And of course, as usual, we got the memo without even talking to each other, and we're perfectly synchronized and matched.
I know.
So that's awesome. Good morning, everyone. As you're jumping in, can you just say good morning so we can see that you guys are here? I'm hoping my StreamYard's working because it's not like us to not have a whole bunch of comments as soon as we start. So please, yay! Thank you, Kelly. I'm like, you guys are getting me worried. Hey, Kelly, thank you. Good morning. Hey, Lisette, Angela, thank you guys for being on. Lorraine, there they are. There they
Look
are.
at all those beautiful people ready to receive more. Yes.
Ready to receive. Oh my gosh, you guys, it's so funny. I'm like sitting here like, where are they? They're always here. So happy Monday morning to you, the start of the end of this last week of March. When did that happen? Oh my goodness. And just to put this in context, last year around this time in Florida was when we went into lockdown. And I was just thinking about that this morning, like, oh my gosh, a year has gone like that. And we've adjusted and we've thrived and we've gotten through it. And sometimes it feels like, well, where do we go from here? And just breathe because we are here. And a year later, we've adapted as human beings always have. We've adapted and we're still here. So, all right. I see lots of friends. Everyone I think is really excited to have this conversation around, are you blocking sales? And we are going to have a juicy conversation around receiving. But before we do, now that you're all here, I'd love to introduce you to this incredible woman that you see next to me. Her name is Nancy Matthews, and she's the co-founder of Women's Prosperity Network. Her and her two sisters. So just like I have my best friend in business, Nancy has her two birth sisters that she runs Women's Prosperity Network with. It's an international organization. They're all over the world. I think hundreds of thousands of women now lives have been impacted because Nancy's vision was to transform the lives of women, especially entrepreneurs, in the way that she just so lovingly does it. And she's been one of my greatest mentors on my journey. So, for those of you that are in our community and you've done our program, we teach from the book, The Science of Getting Rich. And when I first met Nancy, one of her programs was called Receiving Your Riches. So we've always been in sync around the principles of the science of getting rich and the importance of receiving. And so Nancy has offered to come in. Nancy has offered, and I have cajoled Nancy to come in and have a conversation this morning around sales, because one of the things that I notice with spiritual entrepreneurs, and many of you that make up our community, that's exactly what you are. You're attracted to us because we have a conversation around living life based on spiritual principles and creating easier and more relaxing success based on the universal principles that are meant to support us. But one of the things that I notice is when it comes to business success, that many of us get into this place where we block our abundance. And I'm going to slow down because I get really excited on Monday mornings. We block our abundance when we get to that sales area. And we do it because all our limiting beliefs surface, all of, just all the stuff. I don't need to get into it. We all know what it is. We feel yucky. We don't feel like it's right to ask for money. We have money blocks. We have all these things that just show up in that sales process. And I love Nancy's spin on it because it's like, how about if we turn it into receiving, instead of having the weight of it's selling, how about if we, and it is that, I'm selling my son right now and getting all A's. Let me just tell you, like, we're always in a sales conversation. But sometimes maybe we can just, soften it for ourselves so that we become more open and expansive if we just change the languaging and start considering receiving. So Miss Nancy Matthews is on with us this morning to talk about to talk about just that. How can we become better receivers as we are inviting and enrolling people into our business and services through sales. So Miss Nancy, take it away. It's all you.
All right. Well, thank you. And it's all us is what I would say. So first of all, Tasha, thank you for creating such an amazing community, this space where we have permission to have these conversations. Because if we look at the rest of the world, outside of the space that you've created, that I've created, the conversations don't come on this slant, and it's really about success and driving hard, and you got to do this and you got to do that, and push, and I think part of the challenge for spiritual entrepreneurs such as ourselves, who have so much value to deliver and want so much to live this extraordinary life, part of the challenge is the messaging we've been fed for eons is about you have to drive hard in this whole win-lose scenario, especially when it comes to our businesses.
Yes.
So I love what you teach about easy and relaxed, because I always believe that we can always find the answers in nature. Right? So if we look at nature, and it's interesting because this morning in my journaling and my meditation, I woke up with this beautiful feeling of gratitude. And I said, I wake up with a feeling of power and praise for the divine plan. And I had never used a phrase like that before. And what that meant to me was, the divine plan is created of love. Like the natural way is created of love. So anytime our thoughts and our vibration are not of love, we're actually detracting and disturbing the divine plan.
Wow. That's so good.
Yeah, I know, it was juicy. Like I got right? God. I'm like, oh, was that
like, where's my journal?
Yeah. So here's the thing. When it comes to sales, and I'll tie this into this practical way of being around sales. When it comes to sales, think about when you're on a Zoom or you're on a call or you're doing a webinar, that moment where you transition from sharing your knowledge to asking for the sale, there's a shift in energy. And it's because of those thoughts. Oh no, I have to ask for the money. Will they find me worth it? Is it too much? Am I being too pushy? Like all of this story shows up simply because we got out of that space of love.
And we're so great with the love when we're in the sharing.
Yes.
Yes. Whether it's our knowledge or our product and service or some expertise that we have, and especially for us women, because a majority of those watching are women, we are such natural nurturers. Like it's like breathing to just love on our people and give them all we have, more than sometimes they're even capable of receiving. But we're so in love when we're in that space. And you're right. What happens when we transition into, and now we have to ask to receive money? What happens?
Well, so what happens there is you wonder if we fear those two letters. Yeah. N-O. When someone says no, we make it mean that we're not worthy or we didn't do a good job trying to sell them. Right.
Or we've been so in the sharing our love. It's like, no, I don't love you back. It's like,
oh yeah, that was good. That's what we make it mean. Yeah. Fascinating. So here's the thing. One of the things that we've developed, and I wasn't always good at sales, but what I was always good at is caring about other people, like really genuinely caring about them. And the turning point for me came about when I realized that I was giving so much, but I was blocking the receiving.
Can we pause?
Sure.
Like, I really, if you've ever watched any of these Monday morning lives,
Yeah.
the thing that I really love having everyone type in the absence of us being present with each other, so I can see you writing. So if you could type, just so that I know you are really getting this. Tony Robbins says the quality of your life, and I truly believe the quality of the level of success that we experience is determined by the quality of the questions we're willing to ask ourselves. Yeah. And that's a really profound question. Mm-hmm. Am I blocking receiving? Like, everyone type, am I blocking receiving? And the context of the receiving this morning is around, when it comes to asking others to say thank you for our services by paying us, right? So however you want to language that, sales, asking for the sale, whatever it is, the bottom line is you've given your love and expertise and your care and your wisdom and all of that. And then there comes a moment where the energy has to be exchanged and they have to give back to you to say thank you. And we really have to ask, do I block that? Am I blocking it? And Nancy, I know you're going to share with us 4 easy ways that we can open up to receiving in that sales process.
Yes. So, yeah. So the first piece, the first of the 4 parts that I'll share with you today, and this all comes from actually a 12-step process. Okay. That I had to look back and, because people would say to me, oh, Nancy, you're so good at sales. It's so easy and natural for you. And I don't feel like I'm being sold. And you could sell ice to an Eskimo. Like, people would say that to me, and they never felt sold by me. They felt cared for by me. Right. Right. And let me say this very clearly. I never sell something that I don't think is going to benefit the other person. Never.
Like, Nancy, pause again, because I think I would love for everyone to get that. They felt cared for by me. That is something that we have to so own in that process. Yeah, I don't want you guys to type again, but maybe write it down somewhere. Like, really, I want my desires for my people to feel cared for by me. And if you can begin to honestly answer that question, yes, as you're serving your people, I think it's going to be a major help in opening up to receiving, because you just want to feel good about it, Yeah. Feel good about the process. Yeah. I love, and that is so true of you, Nancy. Your people feel cared for by you.
And on the flip side of that, so thank you, by the way. On the flip side of that, one of the ways that we block the receiving is people have sold us in the past and we didn't feel they cared for us. We actually made those purchases out of a feeling of lack. Oh, if I don't get this, I'm not going to be successful. If I don't buy this, there's not going to be any left. Like, that's not the energy of a truly give and receive spiritual type of sales experience. Right. So that block shows up. So number 1, it's really staying in that spirit of caring, genuinely caring for the people. And this next piece is trusting the process. And this goes directly to what you teach through the Science of Getting Rich Academy. It's trusting that if they're meant to be your client, they will be. Yes. It's being committed to the process, but not attached to the outcome. And that attachment to the outcome is the monkey mind saying, oh, I got to pay my bills. What if I make the sales? What if I'm not good enough? I'll have to go get a job. All that crap that shows up. Right? That's why faith and really, delving deep into these principles that Tasha teaches through the Science of Getting Rich are so foundational, because we need to wipe out all of that other programming that we got fed. Yeah. So first, be really committed to adding value, being an advancing personality. The
Mm.
second piece of it is feeling the aspect of having received before it arrives.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that just a little bit?
Yeah.
Because obvious, as soon as you say it, you and I, we live this, so I
Yeah.
get it right away, right? It's like we just did our challenge, and for our business, that's a big enrollment period.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell people, and I shared last week, I literally journaled. I wrote about exactly what the experience would be like. I wrote about how it would feel for the people
Mm.
in during the challenge, how it would feel when they were in the enrollment conversation, how they would feel afterwards, how I would feel. And I went into, before the challenge even started, even before day one, I
Mm-hmm.
sat down and I went into the feeling of receiving all of those results.
Mm-hmm.
So for you and I, it's natural, but can someone listening who's like, what do you mean? What does that mean? Can you just share a little bit about that? The
Sure.
importance of feeling you've already received it.
Yeah. Well, you just did a great job describing the process to apply to bring this to life. And I
Mhm.
do the same exact thing. You know, it's about, and here's the thing, I want you all to remember that the reason you're in business or whatever the service product that you provide, even companies when you work in them, you're doing that because there's something deep in your spirit, in your unique spirit, that says, I'm here to add value in my own way, right? So you
Yeah.
have this desire upon your heart to be an advancing personality, to make a difference in people's lives. And what Tasha's referring to here about that feeling of receiving is allowing your heart to expand into, what does it feel like to really deliver that difference to another human being, to help
Mm,
them on that path of transformation? What does it feel like to actually do it? You know, so imagine that person, your ideal client, the one person that inspired you to do this, and maybe it's even the little girl or little boy that you used to be, that grew into who you are today, and the journey you went through and all the lessons you've learned that you now share with other people.
right.
Okay? Drop into the feeling. What are they experiencing before having met you? What's going on in their lives and what's happening to them? What's their family life look like? What's their business life look like? What's their health and wellness? Because everything's so connected. And then lovingly help them through their own fears in wanting to say yes. Because let me tell you, friends, overcoming objections is rarely about you if you've genuinely cared for them throughout your conversation. It's
Mm.
about helping someone else move through their own resistance. So
Mm.
I'm going in a lot of directions here, but because like I said,
No,
it's a
I really
12-step
love it.
business.
I really love it, Nancy. And it's like, for everyone, like I see some people on. So, Suzanne is an artist, um, Bridget, I see. I don't know, Bridget, if you still do this, but I remember at some point you were making these delicious rum cakes, and then Jenny is watching, and she's in network marketing and offers products that really help people with their health. And it doesn't matter what, someone else on here has a job. It doesn't matter what. Like what Nancy is saying is, just for a moment, pause and allow yourself to feel the feeling of the result that the person who gets your product or service is going to have, the gratitude that they're going to have for you because you showed up and you did the things you needed to do to have them have that experience. I mean, for me, honestly, when I journal, the joy of thinking about somebody's life being changed because I shared something I know, like that's it. Because I shared something I know, somebody's life is better.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the next layer of that is they will be happily paying you.
Right.
So feel that. They
Mm-hmm.
will be happily paying you. And how do you feel having received? And maybe it's about looking in your bank account and seeing a certain amount of money, or maybe it's about because of the money that you've earned and brought in and been paid to you, you take a vacation somewhere special, or you buy something new for someone you love. Like, that's where it keeps on flowing into this place of receiving.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
enjoying that.
Yeah. Mm.
So I want to give a couple of really practical things also, if I may,
Yeah.
because a couple of the ways that we block receiving is we're actually not prepared to receive, right? So here's how this can look. So you're having a conversation with somebody and it feels really good, and you're explaining how you can support them and help them in their lives. And they say, okay, when you do this well, when you're really in conversation and genuinely caring about them, they will often say, how can we get started? When you
Right.
do this front part well, how can we get started? And you're blocking receiving if you say, well, let me, think about it, and I'll see, and I'll email you a proposal, and you just block receiving.
Yeah.
Like, be prepared to receive. Know the way that you deliver value and the pricing related to it. You got to do that on the front end. And yes, you can customize here and there, but very rarely is what I'm going to suggest. You got to have, this is the process that works best.
Right.
The process that works best. So that's one way is, let me get back to you. Let me think about it. And that piece of it is a little bit of a lack of confidence or uncertainty. And it's also not taking the time to really get clear on who your client is and the process that you're going to guide them through, and knowing the structure and being prepared. So let's say, I teach something that I refer to as funnelology, which is, I always recommend, I see so many people struggle with, I have to put an opt-in on my website and have a low-cost thing that'll lead to the next higher thing and the next higher thing. Well, I teach you to flip that around and start with what I refer to as your optimal solution. Think about that ideal client, just like we were talking about. What is the best solution for them? Is it working with you for, 3 months, 6 months, a year? What does that look like? What are you going to guide them through? And then what's your pricing?
Right.
And then, because not everybody is going to be able to do the highest program, you actually pull pieces out of that and create your lower offers from within the optimal solution. So now everybody, and your opt-in is naturally directed to bring someone up to there if they need you.
Right.
It makes it so much easier when you flip the funnel upside down.
Wow.
So that gets you prepared to receive at whatever level someone is ready to work with you.
Right. Right.
So if you're having this conversation and you say, well, based upon, and this is how you want to do it, based upon what you've shared with me that you're experiencing and what you'd like to achieve, here's how I think I can best support you in getting that.
Right.
And then you explain, the highest one if you think it's the right fit.
Right. Right.
And if they say, oh, that sounds really good, but I don't know if I can do that. Well, let me share with you some other ways so at least you can get started. If you're that deep into a conversation with someone, they want to make a change.
Right.
And it's actually, get this, everyone. If you have a conversation and you can feel in your heart that it's right, that you can really help this person get what they want, and you don't let them know how they can take the next step with you, you're doing them a disservice, because you're leaving them stuck in their problem.
Wow.
Get that.
Wow. And that's really on you, because we walk away from those conversations going, the person didn't enroll, they didn't buy, they didn't whatever, they didn't continue to work with
It's not
me.
about that.
But it's really, talk about having to take responsibility for that, right? You engage them in a conversation, you made them aware of, they're talking to you because they're in their pain. They've sensed that you have the solution for them, the answer for them, and then you don't invite them to take the next step, and you've now left that person in pain.
Yeah, it's and when you can feel it at that level, It removes any kind of icky feeling around trying to sell someone.
Right.
Because that's not what we're here to do. I'm not here to try to sell anybody anything.
Right.
I'm here to use whatever skills, knowledge, and talents that I have to support others in getting what they want.
Right.
And I get paid for that. You know, Tasha, a long time ago, you had on the publisher who did Eckhart Tolle's
Mark Allen. Yeah.
Mark Allen. And when Mark was on, this quote, he said this quote, or you said this quote, and I have taken it on as my mantra, which is from Florence Shin.
Mm-hmm.
I work with wonderful people in wonderful ways for wonderful pay.
Everybody write that. I work with wonderful people in wonderful ways for wonderful pay. Oh my gosh, that just feels flowery and beautiful.
Isn't that why we do what we do? That's the vision we hold.
Yeah. And that's the way we want to feel. And we want others to feel in working with us.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, Nancy, so one of the things that we talked about as we were getting ready for this was we observe in our communities that people, back to the practical things, like being open to receiving. My story that I share about this was I went to Costa Rica a couple of years ago. I had a delicious meal, and the bill, you know how the bill tells you like, here's the amount for the tip, right? Mm-hmm. So I signed the receipt, put my tip, but as I'm walking out the restaurant, I'm like, man, that was so good. I want to leave extra. I want to give them more money. And I'm walking out and I see a tip jar and I go, perfect. And I look at the tip jar and it's got the lid on, like, and closed, you know? And I took a picture and I'm like, this is such a great example of what people do when it comes to receiving. We have the restaurant, we have the food, we have the servers, the food is great, everything's amazing. Right? We have all our products and services, all the hard work we've put in to build a business. We have the website. We are ready. But the tip jar is closed.
That was awesome.
And it's things like we don't have PayPal.
Right.
You know, just the simple things that allow us to receive are not in place. Mm-hmm. And I know that those were some of the things that you also wanted to talk about, like just practical, like things to think about when it comes to receiving.
Yeah, for sure. So, you know, have on your website, have a page that people can easily go to. Like if you're teaching a webinar or something like that, have a way for them to go, yes, and sign up. Mm-hmm. Be prepared to receive. If you are having conversations with people and then they say, yes, okay, great, let's get started. Have a way to actually say, okay, give me your credit card info. And that's typically called a virtual terminal. That gives you the ability to say, yes, give me your credit card, and then you can enter their payment in. Because you all know what happens. People say yes, and you say, okay, great, I'll send you the link. And then they walk away from the phone conversation and go talk to their husband, and they say, oh, I'm so excited, I'm going to buy this program for $1,000. And the husband goes, what? Or their limiting beliefs show up again.
Yeah.
You know, so, and again, the ethics behind this, never sell something that you don't really believe is going to make a difference, because it'll bite you in the butt. I promise you.
Yes.
And number two, really be committed to bringing value to that person and knowing that, you know, I'm helping them get what they want.
Yeah, that's so good. And you know, recently in our enrollment conversation, there was a lady that I spoke to, and I want to share this story. She had $1,800 to her name, like an adult woman. You know, I mean, just think about think about stuff happening, and you get to $1,800 in her name, left to her name, right? This is like rent, every food, gas, electricity, everything, $1,800 left. I could have said, this is not the right time, right? Mm-hmm. I could have said, you know what, that's all you have. My program is way more than that. This is not the right time. But I stood so powerfully for her, because just like we said, and again, back to this, be open to receiving and allowing and understanding that sales is you allowing others to receive the transformation, the result, the whatever it is that they need. And I stood for her and I said, let's figure this out together. You know, in order for you to fly, you have to take a leap of faith.
Yep.
Long story short, she did. She took the leap of faith. We were in maybe 2 days of the program when she typed this. I've manifested $5,000, $700, like all this stuff started coming to her.
Yeah.
What if I would have said, well, you can't afford it. So
Right.
no, she said she knew her financial position, and she knew that if I was willing to find a way with her, she would be willing to do it. And she did. And then she got the results, you know? So it's really, again, for me, listening to this conversation and what I'm being reminded of, and I want everyone to hear what Nancy's saying, is that the receiving element of the sales process, you know, be a little less self-centered around it being about you, and really start to open up to, it's about the other people that I'm here to serve, and how can I make that process easier? How can I make them? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No, this is great. This is great. And that if you're not prepared to receive and make it easy for people to give to you, you're breaking spiritual law. So I want to come right because the energy of giving and receiving is all a cycle. It's cause and effect. It's you are the cause, the effect is you receive. You're the cause of bringing a value to someone, the effect is that you receive.
Right.
And because what I started to think was, and I see a lot of people do this too, oh, you can't afford it, I'll do it for free. No, you're breaking the flow of spiritual giving and receiving. You're breaking that flow. It's got to be in order. Now, not to say that you don't, have gifts and talents and you bring to people, but we have to respect our receiving as much as our giving.
Yeah. Wow. We have to respect our receiving as much as our giving, because for many of us, especially, those of us that are spiritual and in business, and we live by the spiritual principles, we are great at honoring our giving. We, in fact, overgive sometimes. And then we break the universal laws, the spiritual laws, when we don't create the space to also receive. Wow. Wow. Okay.
and let me share something that really is from my heart. That when you can really embrace this process of being prepared to receive and making it easy and showing people how they can get what they want through you. For me personally, the joy comes from seeing every single person that I get to work with and share this opening space with, seeing them impacting more and more people. Like, because I really know that your community, my community, every single person that we get to be in experience with it, whatever that looks like, we're attracted to each other's communities, to those people, because we come from this place of making a positive impact in the world. And the world needs us all.
Yeah.
The world I envision of a healed world where people are loving and kind to each other, where everything is of love. You may call me Pollyanna, I believe it. And it's going to take each and every person stepping into that space of being in the flow of giving and receiving and letting go of those limiting beliefs. So, we're building and empowering and equipping. Equipping is actually a better word because you already have power. Equipping people to improve our world. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So if you've been listening, and you joined this morning because you saw the title, right? Are you blocking sales?
Yeah.
And you're like, I need to listen in. I want to encourage you, one, to take the first step in practicing receiving. So we're going to give you a chance to just go ahead and practice.
Yeah.
And so at the bottom of the screen, Nancy has given everyone watching, whether you're watching live or the replay. Also, this was in the email. If you're on our email list, this link was in our email this morning. But you want to go to womensprosperityNetwork.com /receive, just like I typed it there. I'm also going to put it in the comments just so that, hang on a second. Let me just do a little technology fun stuff
I'll
here.
say hi. Catherine Hathaway's in the house. Aylin Sutton Miller. The more we receive, the more freedom and opportunity we create for ourselves and others. Yes, yes, yes.
All right, guys. So I just put the link in the comments as well, but it's also on the screen. You want to go ahead and get your $50. Nancy is giving everyone watching 50 WPN, which stands for Women's Prosperity Network, 50 WPN dollars that allows you to have some fun over at WPN. There's lots of amazing products that you can, use your $50 towards. And Nancy is, as we've been having this conversation around opening up to receiving, and you're like, I see myself in this conversation. I see all the ways that I've been blocking abundance in the sales process. I've put in all the work on the front end, but then I get to that little piece and I get in my own way. And I love the way, I'm sure if this were me and I were listening to this conversation, I'd be like, this is my woman. This is my person. This is the way I want to think about sales. This is the way I want to feel about it. This is the way I want to go about it. So if that's you and you're interested in learning more about Nancy's approach to the sales conversation, selling from the heart, being more in alignment with the spiritual principles as you enroll people, and keeping yourself responsible for allowing yourself to receive, then Nancy, can you share with us what you have coming up that people might be able to use their $50 towards?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So when you get the $50, one of Susan, my sister, will probably give you a call and see what's a good way for you to invest that in yourself to produce greater income. And it's $50 free. There's lots of stuff you do just with the 50. And we have a 2-day workshop. We offer this twice a year, and it's a sales and marketing boot camp where we guide you. Yeah, it's really cool. We guide you through the 12 steps of this. I call it the anatomy of the heart-centered sales process.
Wow. The anatomy of the heart-centered
sales process. Yeah. And it's so delicious.
So there's 12 steps, and you just guided us through about 4 of them this morning.
About 4 of them. I think I might have snuck in a couple of others along the way. Okay. But here's the thing. Just like you can read a book on how to drive a car, until you actually drive the car, you're not doing it. Right. So what we do at the boot camp is we give you practice sessions, because what needs to happen here, my friends, is these conversations. You've been having conversations in a certain way that maybe aren't producing the results that you hope for, or the people that you're talking to hope for, and you have neural pathways. So we do practice sessions so we can build new muscle memory that make it easy for you beyond the boot camp to go ahead and have these conversations.
I love it.
Yeah, it's really
good. My goodness. Heart-centered. And for all the years that I've been doing this, and I get the same thing. Oh, you're so good at sales, or you're so good at so good at business. And I go, it's just practice over and over and over and over and over. I'm just in so many conversations that you get better at it. But the sweet spot is the ability to come from your heart.
Always.
That is the sweet spot. And if you can combine the practice piece with being aligned and heart-centered, magic happens. And the sales word is just, all the stuff that comes along with hearing sales just goes out the window, because you're just in such euphoria. You're in service, you're in joy, you're in like, I'm doing what I'm meant to do. I'm serving others. I'm allowing the spiritual process of giving and receiving to work naturally for me. Like, that is what I want for all of you.
I'm drinking this in and I'm giggling because I actually have a little song that I sing when
that's so funny.
And I've been doing it for years, like, probably 15, 20 years easy. And it's like, I love to sell. I love to sell. I do. And the reason I love it so much is I know the difference I'm making for people.
Yeah.
You know, when I worked in the law firm, and I know we're going over, so I'll make this my last piece. When I worked in the law firm, and we were working with people who were in foreclosure and needed bankruptcy, and I would sell them, you know, you're talking about somebody who's in dire straits, but they also really need services.
Right.
Right. And I would be happy selling them, enrolling a new client into the law firm, because I knew the difference we were going to make in their life. We were going to help them turn their life around.
Yeah.
They were at the end. We got to help them go to the beginning, you know, restart.
Go back to the beginning, restart. Yeah.
So that's where it started. I love to sell. So dance with me, friends. I love to sell.
I absolutely love it. So I want to encourage all of you. There is womensprosperitynetwork.com/receive. Go claim your $50. And it sounds like someone will contact you. I want all of you asking about this heart-centered sales boot camp. It's sales and marketing boot camp, right? Whomever calls you, however it goes, do what you need to do to receive, to find out about that boot camp so that you are enrolled in it, because easy and relaxed is what I'm about. And it just takes a process. It takes knowing how to make things easy and relaxed. And when it comes to this sales and marketing piece, this is it. There you have it. Okay. So receive. Go ahead, sign up, get your $50, and take the next step to receiving, being part of that. Nancy, beautiful. Thank you so much for being on. Thank you for being in my life. Thank you for sharing my message with your community, but also thank you this morning for coming and sharing yours with mine. Mwah.
My pleasure, my purpose, and I am beyond grateful and in love with you too.
Mutual love fest going on. All right, everyone. Have a happy Monday.
Bye,
Go
everyone.
Get your $50, and we'll see you next Monday at 8 a.m. 8 a.m. next Monday. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks, Nance. Bye-bye.